Welcome back. So we have the intention of building something that's awesome. It uses machine learning, TensorFlow.js to visualize points on your body, play them back, and overlay them over like a live video feed. It should be pretty amazing. We're not there yet. We're only at the let's play a video stage of things. So this is what we have. We have a video player, and we just, in the last step, we added a control bar. So now we can do some playback. We can pause, we can play, watch the time, make the video slow down. So this is all great. Because we did add these playback controls in the last step, I think we can just get rid of this playback button. So let's get rid of this start playback button here. I'm gonna go into my demo right here, and yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this button. I'm gonna leave use camera in here because honestly, it's kind of awesome watching pose visualization over a live webcam feed. So it's handy to be able to switch to your camera off of the sample video. So use camera is all that's left after we've taken out that button. We can just flip it over to the camera. Hi. And so that all works pretty well. The other thing I'm noticing is if we scroll down here, we have some stuff that needs to be added to gitignore. We just added a playback event in our last step. Now the playback event, again, it's a subclassed event. I was using custom events before. I didn't realize you could subclass an event, and I feel like this is a lot more organized. So we're using this as the event for the communication between the player, the video player, and the control bar. So TypeScript generated this for us, and it put it at the root of the project for us for easy publishing, as you'll see in the future. So let's just go ahead and add that to our gitignore as well. All right, that looks a lot more tidy. All right, so here's the problem that we're having right now. Everything looks like it's working. We're playing things back just fine. Our time updates. The one thing that didn't work, though, is the ability to scrub playback to whatever time we want it at. So this is a problem. And the problem is not by any code that we wrote, not by any code in this component. It's the fact that it's a progressively streaming video. So to explain what's going on here, why we can't just jump to any point in the video, we have to understand how this kind of works. So behind the scenes, we have a sample video.mp4 file here, and we're just using this as a file that we're kind of downloading and playing. And when you're doing this, Chrome or any browser really, it's downloading it and playing at the same time. So you haven't downloaded the entire file because that would take forever to get this thing started to play back. So what the browser does is it starts streaming the bytes and playing them back as it gets them. It might have some more buffer here, but really it doesn't have the bytes for the end of the video yet. So it can't just jump here. It's gonna freak out and go back to the beginning. So what do we need here to get this playing? Well, we need a server feature, basically, which is called partial range requests. So what we need to do is enable our browser to say, hey, I scrub to this place, give me the bytes starting where I scrub to. So there's a little bit of a communication here between an HTML5 video element and a server. And if your server doesn't do that, then you're stuck scrubbing and it fails and falls back to the beginning of the video. So we need this partial range request feature, which WebDev Server doesn't have it right out of the box. It's not even a plugin, it's something called middleware. And so to know where this middleware comes from, we need to understand where WebDev Server came from itself. And so to explain this, I present to you Koa.js. So Koa.js, as described on this webpage I just loaded, it's a next generation framework for Node.js. And if you scroll down a little bit, it's a new framework designed by the team behind Express. So Koa is a lot like Express, but it's kind of reimagined. And this is what WebDev Server is based on. This is the server that WebDev Server uses. So with that in mind, let's hop over to the Koa.js GitHub page. Let's take a look at these repositories. There's quite a number of them. These are all like kind of plugins or more specifically middleware. I think there's both plugins and middleware for Koa. So let's try to find this partial range request things. So this is what we need, Koa range. This is a range request implementation for Koa. Yeah, I knew I'd need that ahead of time. This isn't a very descriptive thing, at least for me, but I know I need this. So this is something we need to add on top of Web Dev Server. Since I know we need to install this, let's go and add it to our package.json file. It's going to be a dev dependency, so let's get that installed. Now that Koa Range is installed, how do we actually use this? Well, let's take a look at Web Dev Server's configuration documentation here. So let's see where we need to add this to the configuration, and I see right here we have a middleware option. So middleware accepts an array of middleware. So let's add this middleware right now. So we're going to do middleware, and then I'm going to do range. And of course, range is not defined yet, so we're going to need to import that. Range from Koa range. So let's see if this works. npm run serve. And we have an error. Import range from Koa range. Named export cannot be found. It's a Koa.js module. That's a shame. So we need to refactor this. It looks like this range middleware is not set up yet for ES modules. So let's do this. Let's change our JS file to CJS to represent Koa.js. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this import. We're in Koa.js, like I said, so we need to do a require statement. And this export default, this is also ES module style, so we're going to add module.exports equals all that stuff. And then I did forget that this should be an array. All right, with all that stuff in, let's see if this actually works. So let's restart our server and go here and do some playback. Still works, that's fine, we didn't change much. But the important bit here is if we can scrub, and let's try this out. So we can. To be double sure though, we should actually load this up in incognito mode, because if it's cached, it's gonna work regardless because the entire video file is in your cache. So, all right, so as we load this again, we can get playback going. No surprise there, nothing should have happened there. But more importantly, we can scrub around to any different point in the video that we want really fast. So this is the middleware, Koa range. It's doing the work for us to get specific ranges from the browser and play them back. So this is great. We can also, let's pause this and do some frame advancing. That all works. I'm clicking really fast so you can see it in action. But yeah, so we have a video player component with some UI here. But as you know, this is not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is to actually use TensorFlow and be able to visualize and receive points along the body. So you want to be able to recognize where his hand is, where his eyes are, get some definition around his face, get all those points eventing out to us and be able to visualize them over the video. None of this is here yet. So in the next step, we're going to get cracking on that. We're going to get some real cool stuff really fast. So stay tuned.